Welcome to the PBC 2020 NBA Draft Remote Film Room. My name is Jon Chepkevich, Director of Scouting for the PBC, and joining me today is 2020 NBA Draft early entrant out of Michigan, Isaiah Livers. What's going on, Isaiah?
It's good, my guys. How you doing?
Doing pretty well, man. Appreciate you joining and taking some time out of your quarantine life here to kind of, sit down and talk through your game. And, with you submitting your name for early entry here for the draft during COVID, I'm sure that's been a kind of weird experience. So wanted to kind of try to make the best of it together, do something different here. Is that good?
That sounds great, man. I'm excited.
Cool, man. Have you been able to, kind of maintain and work out and communicate with some teams during this time?
Yeah, I've been talking with teams here and there, good amount of them. Just get a feel of what they think about me. They talk about their organization, and I got a gym access right now, so there's no going to see them with all this COVID going on right now.
Yeah, that's good. It seems like you're definitely taking advantage of the time the best you can, and figure this is just a nice way to supplement it and just do something different here. So let's dive into this tape. So we're going to start with the offensive side of the ball here. And I think everyone knows that you're a bona fide sniper, right? That's the number one thing on the scouting report. I'm sure all teams are designing their game plans to try to avoid you knocking down threes like this. This is a nice little set that you guys run here. Do you want to maybe just talk me through sort of, what the action is here and maybe how you have worked to become such a good off-movement shooter?
Yeah, I came in with Michigan not with little to none shooting ability. It was all athleticism, but with Coach Beeline, Coach Howard, it taught me really how to move without the ball, and that's something I watch a lot of Clay clips. Clay and Steph move well without the ball, and I think that's one of their strengths, and that's something I can see myself doing at the next level. And this is just a stagger away, really a read. Actually, I seen them get messed up, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to just pop back, got to wipe a shot. I know my point guard is going to find me.
Yeah, and I think bringing up Steph and Clay was kind of interesting specific to this play too, because one thing that they do really well off ball is they will set screens themselves, which then ends up opening something up for them later on in the play, right? And that's kind of what we do here.
Yeah, you got to give for your team.
Yeah, exactly, right? Screen, re-screen, sort of, get the defense moving. And then, like you said, as soon as you recognize right here that they're all discombobulated, you just kind of take that opportunity to pick your spot, get to the right place, have your big man sort of play offensive line here and hold on to the guys.
Yeah.
That's like a layup for you.
Yes, for sure.
Moving on to this next one. This game was super fun early in the season, matched up against Gonzaga. And, this, again, kind of like a layup for you, wide open from the corner three. But you want to maybe talk me through there's a little pick and roll to start, and then you and act like you're going to set it and slip. You want to maybe talk me through if that was like a design play or, again, you just kind of reading and reacting?
I knew whoever was going to be guarding me in an instance that they're going to switch, because if they don't, that takes longer. They're going to sit there. I'm just going to pop and have a wide open shot. So either way, we wanted to confuse the person guarding X. So if you run it, I slip out, and if the man, like what he did right there, now if they would have stayed with me, X would have just kept driving, because that man has to peel over and look for the screen. He has to honor it. But since he got all confused, I don't think he's ever seen a slip out before. But Coach Howard really taught me the master of patience and timing, and that timing was perfect. Right, that was probably the best one we've done all season.
Yeah, that was beautiful, and it's helpful to have a point guard that's such a good passer like that. Knows what to expect. But you're going up against really high level competition here, and Killian Tilly is guarding you to start this play, and he's a really high IQ player.
Yeah,
you just kind of perfectly execute this. The slip is pretty seamless, and you get right to your spot, get the whole way out to the three, and then that's just money again. So that was kind of a dagger right there to put you up time. So definitely a big shot, and being able to work off ball like that, I think is going to be one of your calling cards at the next level for sure. So here we got a little baseline out of bounds action on this next play. You want to maybe talk me through, I think this is going to be another instance of you setting a screen that kind of helps facilitate you then getting open later. You want to run me through this one?
Yeah, Coach Howard's, all his plays, basically kind of going to the NBA. A lot of, like you said with Steph and Clay, there's a lot of screening, rescreening, and that's how you get open. That's how a lot of shooters get open, especially. But this is where I set a screen, have my guard curl down to get some action down there, and then I really didn't even have to go for the three. Coach Howard said you can go for a three or a mid range. It's really not. A lot of his offense is really an option, so he's really just letting us play. But I felt like I had it. I've had to create enough space, great diversion, great screen by my big man. So I said, why not go for the three? And then, of course, point guard finds me.
Yeah, for sure. And I like what you were saying there about, kind of noticing that this guy gets really held up on the screen and that gives you time to sort of peel out there for the
Yeah.
Do you think that throughout your career you've gotten a little bit better at sort of taking that split second to react how the defender is navigating the screen to then choose the right route and then get a clear open shot?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about patience. Like I said, Coach Howard really did a great job this year of creating that patience for me just to go back and watch film. And sometimes I find myself moving too fast to my spot, and obviously the play won't work that fast. So, like I said, it's all about timing. And right here, I had a glimpse. I said, we got to ring up. I'm going for the three.
Right. And it's really helpful, I think, too, that you have the combination of that size and the fluid shooting mechanics that you can kind of take your time at the outset because you can get your shot off quickly and over a lot of guys that are guarding you.
Oh, yeah.
All blends together to be a really seamless, deadly combination.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think an area of your game that kind of sticks out in synergy in the statistics as far as your efficiency is transition. You're really lethal in transition.
I love transition, man.
You want to maybe speak to that a little bit more? Is it just kind of you fill your slot on the wing and you're able to kind of find the empty space in the court and just know that you're going to be able to punish guys from deep?
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like football. Like the person with the ball is the quarterback. And then I feel like just me and Franz were the receivers. We were just running and finding open spots. So, right here, I noticed the freshman 14. It's just he's young. He doesn't really know. But he ran straight to the paint. I mean, you're taught that at an early age. But exactly like you said, I love transition because people make mistakes mostly in transition instead of half-court defense. So I was like, I know Eli going to hit me. I just made one or two before that, so I was feeling it. Yeah,
and I mean, the NBA today is about as fast pace-wise as it's been in 30 years, right? So, being able to run the floor like this and find these spots, teams often are opting for transition threes as opposed to, obviously if you can get an easy dunk or layup, you do. But, if there's a couple guys back and then it's an odd man break, a lot of times this is what's open, and you've shown very capable of punishing teams like this.
Oh, yeah.
So you're running a little bit of a pick and roll action here. And I think what we wanted to touch on was that you've shown a little bit of improvement as far as being able to get your shot off the dribble and kind of be able to run a little bit of a secondary wing pick and roll action and kind of do that and create your own shot off the bounce. Do you think that's something that you've made great strides in and that you'll be able to carry with you to the pros?
Yeah, Coach Howard, that was another thing that we wanted to do. He knew I had the capability. It was just more getting reps and just seeing me do it. I'm still getting better at it right now. I'm actually watching Xavier Simpson clips right now, him in the pick and roll. 'Cause you can learn so much from any point guard in the pick and roll, but him specifically is a perfect person to watch. But, right here, I mean, Mitch went under. I actually could have seen this is another one where I got to be patient. I came off the screen a little too quick. If I would have paused, I would have had a wide open shot because Mitch was going under. So kind of just a lot of that patience thing that I'm going through. And that's definitely something I'm going to carry to the pros is being able to come off a ball screen if needed. I want to be able to Mr. Versatility. I want to be able to do anything that NBA team wants me to do.
Right. And maybe that's the next step to this, right? You've shown growth here and you have this nice footwork for getting into a step back after you kind of, cross it back over here. This is all really good. Maybe the next step is, like you're saying, studying, point guards that like your teammate Xavier that really do a good job of creating for others out of the pick and roll and just, having the vision for those skip passes when you draw help defense and things like that, right?
Even creating a play for myself off of a ball screen like this. Look at his patience coming off that. I could easily do that, be patient, put my man in jail and raise up for a jump shot or pass to my big man. So I'm just still learning.
Right. It's like that. It's like the concept of, here he kind of has a little hesitation hang dribble that kind of causes the big man to stay with him for an extra second, that draws the defense in, help side, and then opens things up for you. So like you being able to add some of that to your game as an on-ball guy would be huge too, right?
Yeah, sure.
What we wanted to highlight for you in this clip is that, you move to the right spot off the ball, and teams have to respect you so much as a shooter, even the whole way out to where you're standing there, that can open up some lanes for you to attack closeouts really nicely. So you kind of do it, and he actually does an okay job of sticking with you here, but having that ability to stop on a dime and then, with your length and shooting ability to be able to pull up so quickly like that in the mid-range is a really good sort of counter to when teams try to run you off the line. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to get to the cup right there, but I see my man Tillman sitting there, and I was like, I don't know. I got a man on my hip and Tillman big self right there. I might as well get to my pad and step back.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Tillman's one of the best defenders in college basketball. There's no need to, test the paint in that situation. Your money from this spot, you have that in your bag, and you're obviously very comfortable getting to this spot here. So, definitely a good sort of counter to have in your bag when the three's not open or getting to the lane isn't completely open.
Yeah.
Next, we're back to the Oregon game here.
Oh, yeah.
And this one, again, is attacking off the bounce. This is like a pretty unique shot. You don't see a lot of guys that can pull this off, right? Like, this is pretty smooth, kind of goofy and different, but effective, right? So we see that you're weak side in the pick and roll here to start. You want to maybe just talk me through, I guess, when you catch this from Xavier, how you're attacking this guy off the bounce and kind of how you end up getting into that little Dirk-esque one away.
Yeah, I knew once catching it, another young guy on me. They're probably on the scouting report is run him off the line. We need to get him off the line. So I knew catching it. Not like I had a one-dimensional mindset, but if he was playing off, but I seen the sense of urgency. You could see it coming right out of your peripheral. So I was like, okay, he's gonna run up and step on my toes. I'm gonna give him a little look to the right, and I'm gonna try to get to my left. And then once I see all the clogs, all that stuff going on, I was just like, there's no need to force it again. I mean, I could dribble around zero and get it to my man 55 or get it to Franz, but he actually recovered pretty well. And I was like, okay, I need to get a quick shot in, and step back was perfect. Step back with 1 foot was something I practiced, so it's something I'm really used to.
Yeah, that really stuck out as like pretty unique, and like you said, they played it pretty perfectly up to here, and even Peyton Pritchard here is kind of in the right spot to like play two over here. Yeah, or else skip pass might get picked off there, right? So, this is kind of the only thing you could have done, and not very many guys in college basketball can pull something like this off. I mean, if we just rewind it slightly here and just take a quick look at how much ground you're able to cover when you push off your right foot here, like right there, that's a pretty significant amount of ground, and to be able to elevate like that over a couple defenders. Oh, yeah. A really unique play.
Oh, I remember this play.
We're back to transition again this time. So, I mean, this was pretty smooth. You might not be like, I wouldn't say you're known for your handle, but I think when you get out in space and transition, you're pretty comfortable in that environment, right? So you get down and you see multiple defenders coming. You want to talk me through like kind of how you navigated this, and then maybe your approach in general as an on-ball guy in transition?
Yeah, this right here, I knew I was going to grab the rebound, and I knew there was a clear court ahead of me. I knew I had to push it. It's something that we work on in practice a lot, but right here, I'm a little half-legged. Morcel catches up because he's a freaking of an athlete. I got Cowan sitting there, and I got my man over there guarding the shooter.
Yep.
I don't know if I want to dump it off to Big Sleep because that was in my mind.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little too far out for him. I don't want to make anything too hard for him. I feel like Cowan could easily slapped it or took it away from him. So I was like, okay, Morcel's a very aggressive defender. And as I feel him on my hip for like 2 or 3 dribbles, I know he's going to overplay. And I just knew he was an aggressive defender. I knew out of everybody, it was Morcel sitting there. So I was like, okay, I got 2 things. I can slow down, Euro, or I can spin move. And being that I wasn't 100% healthy, I felt like the spin move was a perfect option to go to.
For sure. I mean, the spin move is really smooth, and like, I think you do a good job here because maybe it would have been easier to kick it out to this corner 3 first instinct, but this guy doesn't fully commit to you, right? Like, and if
he's halfway,
you take that layup and you do a nice job of kind of like after that spin move, kind of flicking it over to your left hand and going up strong there and kind of shielding them off.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of like small nuances to everything that you did in this play make it super impressive. And just, you know, another element to your game to be able to like, you know, have the confidence to attack the paint like this as an on-ball guy, you know, grabbing, going in transition.
Yeah, 100%. His handles, like you said, is something I've been working on every day. I'm trying to be the best ball handler I can.
Yeah, and that's definitely like a good area, I think, for you to focus your time on right now during the process, right? Is that something that teams have been giving you feedback about as well?
Yeah, they're talking about that. And obviously the number one thing is obviously my health. And that's just like, yeah, you guys haven't got the chance to see me, so it's really hard for me to sit here and tell you. I mean, I can tell you everything, but actions speak louder than words. And we don't have any time for any action because they're about to start their season, so it's kind of tough. But
sure, and like all teams like to, you know, dig in as far as they can into the medical side of things, but like that's sort of out of your control, and it seems like you're back and as good as ever right now from a health perspective.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So we wanted to highlight this one here as well to just tap on to your athleticism that you spoke about as what was kind of what initially was thought to be your main skill when you first arrived at Michigan. And you know, you've become and grown into more of a shooter now, but you still have that pop and you can see it on display now and again. And here in transition, you fill the middle this time. Did you have a feeling once you were sort of like filling this middle lane here?
Yeah.
It was like tagging you or getting a body on you that this
This is one of the patient plays that I was talking about where I could sprint and beat everybody on the court if I wanted to, but then again I'm sitting under the rim and Nance's younger brother is like 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, so that's not a good option. I need some steam. And Dave, we've been making that play all summer, all year, so that's just something I knew we had that connection on.
Right. And like this guy's kind of stuck in between you and your teammate that's filling the left lane there. And I think he anticipates this pass coming this way.
Mm-hmm.
You just take full advantage of it. And that's just a nasty poster dunk right there. That one had to feel good on the road.
Oh man. Yeah. It was like my first game. Like I've actually felt pretty okay. Not with no issues.
For sure. And I think it'll be good to see that athleticism like continue to come back after now that you're back in full swing.
Oh, this is a busted play.
So I think, you know, this is kind of where we're going to hit on the improvement areas offensively. Right? And I think for you, I think it's just sort of as like an on-ball sort of creator and decision maker when you're forced to kind of like, you know, put it on the deck and kind of, you know, create for others or yourself. And it's not just a simple, like quick one move and, you know, get to the cup or one move step back when you have a little bit longer and have to make decisions. So I think this one, you know, you start up here, little kind of handoff pick and roll action. Maybe your big can catch that.
That's on me. That's too low for him. He's 7 foot.
Right. Yeah, that's low. That's a tough one for him. I like the thought process of trying to get a little pocket pass, but like, you know, probably wasn't there on this particular possession.
Yeah.
And, you know, just getting a little bit more patient and comfortable in those actions, I think could go a long way for you, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's like we said, I'm trying to improve at that. I mean, like I said, if I put him in jail and do what like X and Eli and them do off ball screens, I'd have had X for a shot over there because my man was helping on the big. So something I need to do is just patience. My head's up. It's just the patience. That's all it is.
Exactly. And like exactly what you were saying about, you know, earlier when we saw Xavier coming around the pick and roll to the left and how he kind of like would drag it out a little bit and force the big to keep coming. Like you're saying, that would have forced this backside guy further into the paint and then you zip it over here, right? Like it's taking that extra half second. And I think it's a good sign that you obviously, you know, are aware of those types of things already and that you seem to like really value film study and figuring out ways to get better at that kind of stuff. I think that's encouraging that like you probably will improve in that going forward, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I will. 100% and without a doubt.
I think we just have one more play that's sort of in this realm. So here, you get this one out on the wing. I remember watching this game live. I was back home in Pittsburgh. I specifically remember watching this. And they kind of like are playing really, really tight on ball defense on your teammates and just keep you ISO'd out on the wing over here. You think maybe, you get yourself caught in a tough situation here, and what do you think would have been maybe a better way to handle this situation?
Well, first of all, we were running a play, but I was being a robot. I was trying to look for Brandon down low, ducking in, but I feel like I should have just popped the dribble back and, like you said, went to a move something in my bag that I had and get past my defender. I could have easily drove the middle right there. Like after he goes through, I could have been more of a dictator and just move better out and just attack. I shouldn't have called the ball screen because everybody's always going to switch on me because of my size and my skill set. But yeah, I got myself caught right here. Even right here, I took that another dribble, which was very dangerous. I feel like if I'd have just took that one dribble, popped it back to Brandon, I'd have got out of trouble. But
yeah, like calling that ball screen and then taking it to the corner it's tough, right? Like that's a tough spot on the court. When they run a W there, you put yourself in a little bit of a pinch, and like you have a size advantage here, right? And exactly what you were saying, once that seal sort of isn't there, maybe you just give them one quick rip move and try to get to the nail and make a decision, right?
Exactly. One crossover, one quick step is I'm getting to the nail, foul or a pull-up shot or kick out to France, because you see that over there.
Right. Exactly. So, like, again, it seems like exactly what you could have done better and that this is an area that you can improve going forward. So I think that self-awareness is like a really good sign for your progression into the future in that like minor improvement area.
Facts.
Cool. So now we're going to hit the defensive side of the ball. And I think what we're going to first touch on is that you're super engaged out on the perimeter in closing out on shooters. So this one, you're on ball. Well, first you fight off ball to get through the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're in lockdown mode up in this guy's grill, and you force a really tough look here. Do you think that, like, as an on-ball defender, that you can cover multiple positions at the next level? And, like, do you take pride in forcing guys into tough step backs and pull-up twos and things like that?
Yeah, I had my freshman year, I walked in with Coach Yaklich. He was literally one of the first person to ever teach me, like, defensive principles, especially at the college level, even some NBA terminology. But yeah, this is how we first taught us. Me and Jordan, me and Eli stepped on campus the first time, was step on their toes. We ain't giving up no shots.
Right.
Drive, take a tough two is what we call them, man.
Yeah.
Like you said, I do take pride in making people step back, because that means they didn't have a drive or they didn't have an initial shot. And a lot of the game of basketball, they don't have much of a between game, so you force them to a tough shot. And he actually has a between game, so if you made that shot, it was just hats off to him. I knew I played as hard as I could.
Right, like you live with that. If he makes that, that's just good on him. But you do everything right the whole way up until you actually get a little bit of a block here and end up saving it. But like you get low coming around this screen, you move your feet super well, and then you're able to get a hand on this. And I think that we'll see that consistently through these next couple plays. Unfortunately, he gets a lucky bucket.
Gets the ball back.
Yeah, that's not your fault. That's just bad luck. But, I like to see the hustle to end the play here as well. But when we move on to this next one here, Michigan State game again. So let's just start this back at the beginning, because I think it's easy to miss sort of the subtlety of the start here, that you recognize your guy is sort of like lagging behind the rest of the offense here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, heads up play by you to kind of, stop the ball right there and even just give him a little bit of a different look until your guy gets back into play, right?
Yeah, call it plug. We was plugging, because I knew he was trailing. We had 5 back. It was just a matter of just matching up, and Cassius being Cassius, I'm not going to let him be open. Someone else going to have to be open. So guarded him, and then I could just hear my captain telling me to slide over, which was the plan. So
yeah, perfectly done right there. And like with guys like Winston, you want to give them different looks. You can't let him get into a groove and just run pick and rolls and pick people apart, right? So at least you give them something to think about at the beginning of this play.
Oh, yeah.
Then you bounce back down here. You come around, fight over this sort of handoff with Tillman, who's a really good screen setter, big body guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the second play where we see that you're fighting over a screen. Like, do you think that, you're a pretty long guy, and sometimes for longer perimeter players, they can have trouble navigating those sort of things, right? But like, you do a good job of getting low and like fighting through that physicality. Do you think, is that again something that your coaches have been sort of teaching you at Michigan from your freshman year forward, and that you've really like, latched onto?
Oh yeah, coming with Coach Beeline, that was the plan, was be a perimeter pest.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to play under Charles and just study Charles. And if you know Charles, he gets through every screen. Somehow he slips through every screen, and I envied it, and I wanted to keep working. I still have troubles with it, but I try to it's really just all about effort. And this was really just getting low, staying tight on the hip.
Yeah, and I think that's a super underrated part of defense in general, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like being able to navigate screens and fight over screens and get low, lock and trail. And I think you do a really good job of like being consistently engaged and taking pride in that. And again, you impact this shot, this is early in the game too, right? This kind of sends a message that you're locked in and nothing's going to be easy, right?
Yeah, we ready. Rivals this town.
That's right. And then here we have clip against Maryland.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, so I mean, he tries to pull a little double cross on you, keep him contained, super disciplined defense. And I
ain't mean to do that to my man Sticks. He knows it's all love. I ain't mean it.
No, I know. I mean, he's a really good player that's kind of like, has like a little bit of a different like gawky build to him, and you just kind of send him toppling to the floor off ball here, which is
I thought he was setting the screen. I didn't know he was trying to run through, so I was like, I got to get through, because either way, I mean, Morsel's he's not a shooter, but I'm not going to sit here and let him shoot. But like, yeah.
Right. I mean, it's fun. It's funny watching it back, right? Like it's a little like funny Easter egg in this film session to see that happen. But I think once you step away from like the funniness and awkwardness of it, your ability to like be physical and get through screens out on the perimeter against bigger guys, right? That's like a really good skill to have. And then afterwards, after you take that physicality and send him to the floor, then you have the athleticism to recover to your man who's cutting and then pin this off the glass. So like this entire play kind of, I think, encapsulates your value on defense and being able to stop dribble penetration to start, move your feet well, and then fight through a screen and then have the length and recovery afterwards to get to this ball and pin it. It's just like a perfect play that kind of just shows a lot of the things that you bring on the defensive end.
Yeah, man, I love defense. It's something about defense. It's encouraging.
For sure, man. And that, like, again, that'll get your team going early in the game to create a transition opportunity. So now I think on this one, let's see what happens here. So he tries to give a little ball fake and you're having none of that. So he acts like he's passing it to the corner here after they sort of switch and replace out.
Yep.
Firstly, like what was your decision point here in like jumping out to this and leaving this man open in the corner, but still kind of like preventing that pass from being easy?
Yeah, that was something Coach Saudi taught me when I first got on campus, was like a banana, like he called it like a banana peel or banana split. That's really just playing two people and you're playing right in the middle. And I know Foster, we played on the same team. I know he's a good shooter, so I didn't want to just leave him open. I knew X had to stab at X Tillman because he's been making shots all year. So I had to play two. I knew that was what it was going to come down to. And I just had to recover. I knew he was going to try to ball fake. I mean, if he passed it, I just would have went, no, wait, let me see. Nope, because I knew X. X said I got corner. We called it an X out.
Right.
So I knew X was going there. So I was like, okay, I got to stay with Henry. And then I just had to move my feet because he had an advantage because I had to play two.
Yeah, I mean, really good job of you of recognizing this, because it'd be really easy when he kind of fakes that pass there, knowing it's a good shooter in the corner, to like get yourself out of position. But, good communication between you and X to like realize that he's going to X out to the corner, that you can stay disciplined on the driver here.
Oh, yeah.
You just stick right with him. And again, this is that athleticism showing up in film, and you get a nice little pin here. So now we got Iowa, and I think we're highlighting your defensive versatility here, right? Because at the next level in the NBA, it's pretty switch heavy, right? And so, it's not to say that you're going to like be guarding fives for whole possessions or anything, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not going to be your role. But if you can, in a switching scheme or something, be able to, be physical and strong enough to hold somebody like Luka Garza off and force them into a tough look, That's
Oh, yeah.
all you can really ask for, right?
Yeah, exactly. Man, I knew I played against Garza going through AAU. I know what a force he is down there. So I knew I had to battle. I wasn't going to let it go easy and just put my hand up there, just try to deter. Like, it was a hook shot. You can't really stop a hook shot, but he kind of put it in my face. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try to get some of that.
Yeah. And like he loves getting, to that right hook over the left shoulder. And it seems like you're kind of like anticipating that that's coming after you do a good job of like forcing him to catch it a little further away than he would have liked.
Yeah.
So I think that's really encouraging that you're able to like hold up against some of these bigger guys, even just for like a spot, portion of a possession, right?
Yeah, it's I developed it going early in my year because I had a little bit more weight on me. I wasn't as mobile as on the perimeter, so I had to learn how to guard both. And I became really good at guarding guys like Luka Garza or Bruno Fernando's just sitting low. Like, those are really tough forces down there.
Right. And so like maybe you not being as mobile for a short period of time ended up being like a blessing in disguise because it like forced you to get comfortable with this, right? And it just adds more versatility to your game going forward.
Exactly.
I think we got like 2 more defensive clips here. So next we've got Maryland. So there's a little pick and roll starting this thing off. And I think, Jalen, good shooter. You do a good job, I think, off ball of sort of recognizing when you're on the weak side, that they're going for this little kind of pick and pop action.
Oh, yeah.
Speak to, your ability as like an off ball, weak side defender in pick and rolls and kind of like, playing too, like you were saying earlier, and dissecting the situation.
Yeah, this was something I was not good at early in my career. It was just really hard for me for some reason. But once I just kept practicing, and like you said, I'm always trying to watch films. And I knew coming in the game, Jalen Smith is a really good shooter. So we're not going to let him get a clear look. And we're not letting Cowan get downhill. So something's got to give. So the weak side has to help. We have to do our duty. And we call it a stab. I stab and get back. That's the really hardest things about a stab is you have to go and box your man out. So
right.
This is literally, you have to use all the effort you have, no matter how tired you are, and try to go get that rebound. But luckily it bounced out for me.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I, wanted to highlight on this is the effort, right? Like the stab that you're talking about here, you don't get like an actual hand, like true hand on the closeout because that's not the strategy here, right? Like you're trying to get there for a second to make him at least think about you. And you do a really good job of that. Force him to kind of hesitate, which might cause him to miss the shot because it's not as like smooth and fluid.
Yeah.
And just like sprint your ass off to get down here. And then this is one of the better hustle plays that I saw all season from anybody as I've been digging through this film. That was a crazy save right there. And like, I think it's really easy to, when you're a guy that's relied to, create shots on the offensive end to not like give this kind of effort and like, get on the floor like this, and you've been dealing with injuries and stuff. And like for you to, still have it in you to give this effort, stunt out here, get back, box out, and then dive and put your body on the line into the corner. I think that's like a microcosm of kind of just your mentality and approach and like your willingness to do whatever it takes to win, right?
Yeah, man, it's really about the team. It's how much do you care about your team? And every team I've been on, I cared about every player. I played as hard as I could. There was no days off for games and stuff. It was all 100%. So, yeah, that was just me. That's really just who I am. I just love playing the game of basketball. It's like super exciting to me.
Yeah, and I think the combination of size and shooting is like obvious, right? Everyone knows that a 6'7" and change guy that can stick it from deep like you, like 40+% 3-point shooter. I think you were like 96% from the line this year, mid 80s for your career. Like those shooting indicators are really good. You have size, but I think it can kind of get lost that you are a pretty good creator off the dribble for your own pull-ups and that you on defense can do a lot of things and have that effort and engagement all the time. So if you just keep all those things going and then add a little bit more as a creator for others and getting comfortable making decisions off the bounce, I think, a successful NBA career, is very likely for you.
Yeah, that's the next step in my development is like we talked about is getting better ball handling, decision making, and just really patience. A lot of guys I've been watching in the offseason, like, for example, CJ McCollum, he has all the patience I've ever seen in the NBA. He's just changing gears, and that's just something that I can really add to my game and be a dominant factor. It just helped me create more shots for not only for myself but for my teammates.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's good to see that you're thinking about these things during this unusual time and like working to, implement those into your game for going forward, whether you end up returning for your senior season or taking the league to the pros now. But, while you're a part of this 2020 NBA draft class, I wanted to kind of, pitch it over to you to speak directly to teams. Who is Isaiah Livers? And if an NBA team is to bring you into their organization, what can they expect from you on top?
Oh, day and night, I'm going to come in and be a workhorse. That's something that we talked about. Is I'm always going to give it my all. I'm a hustle. I'm always going to be diving for those out of bounds plays because they could give you an extra possession that you never know. But mainly is like we talked about is my shooting ability. It's something I developed through going through my 3 years at college. It's something I work on literally every day is my touch, my shot. Moving without the ball is very key for me. I know a lot of like we said, the NBA team is moving fast in transition, looking for those easy transition threes to get ahead during the game. So, I mean, that and I feel like just the versatility is something that can really stick out because NBA teams love to switch 1 through 5, 1 through 4, and I feel like I can guard someone in the post. I can hold my own in the post. I feel like a guy that like Draymond, he can hold his own in the post against a 6'10", 6'11" guy, just being physical, moving his feet. It's perfect. It's like beautiful technique, and it's something that I definitely watch. Like going to my sophomore year, I watched a lot of Draymond guarding down low and guarding multiple positions. So I feel like I just want to be Mr. Versatility. I kind of want to change the narrative of coming in, playing game after game each night and just giving your all. I've watched a lot of NBA. I still watch a lot of NBA, and you just see guys kind of like out there sometimes half-assed, and it's just like, that's not really the NBA. It's not basketball. It's being out there. You either go out there giving your all or you're just on the bench, and that's just how I see it. So that's what you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, that's an awesome mentality to have. And, the fact that you can watch a Sparty guy and take something positive from that despite the rivalry there, that's a good sign too. But no, honestly, I think you're a really interesting pro prospect. And, I was happy to see that you decided to test the waters this off season. And I think, even though it's like a kind of weird circumstance right now, it seems like you're taking full advantage of it. And, really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and go through some film, and wishing you the best of luck going forward as you navigate the rest of this process, man.
I appreciate it. I love what you're doing here.